Just scrolling up in the chat. Because you already have the gearbox transmission in. Yeah, the gearbox is in there. That's what, if you look in the other view up there, see that big round thing? That's the gearbox. I'm just mounting up the front clip right now. Just putting bolts in loose. You know, I'm checking for clearances around the new suspension that we installed, which is right there. You can see the bullet rim. It's from an 06 Mustang. Actually, I believe those are off an SN95, which is like a 99 to 04 Mustang. I think those are bullets off an SN95, not an S197, which is the different generations of Mustangs. Froggy, yeah, you're asking about the engine. I'll show you it real quick. Check this out. It's the engine that I got with it, dude. I'll be sorry. My mouth is next to the microphone. All right. There it is, dude. That's the engine, and we're getting a little bit of washout from the light. Give me a second. Let me shut the lights off. There. That's the engine that we're working, that I'm going to put in. It's not a roller cam, dude. It's a hydraulic flat tappet. It's stock. It's bone stock. Iron heads, iron block. It's gutless. I'll be honest with you. For a V8, this has no balls. It's got nothing. Yeah, the flat tappet cam is cocky, especially the hydraulic one. But then again, dude, it's not. We could get a roller kit for it if you want. I know how to put those in. You'd have to take the cap off because it's a Ford. The distributor cap's in the front. And you have to pull the intake manifold, clean the gaskets off, get into the valley, take the valve covers off, take the roller rockers off, and I forget if we probably should get better push rods for it if we're going to go with a roller cam, with a roller cam. But essentially, what I'm talking about here, what Froggy and I are talking about, if you know. Is I'm just going to make sure that I'm still in the shot. Okay. What we're talking about is the actuation mechanism for the cam. So you have your crankshaft, which is attached to the harmonic balancer. Here, I'm going to lower you guys down so you guys can see this a little better. So the crankshaft is right here. That's not actually the crankshaft, though. That's called the harmonic balancer. This is a balance weight that's put in the front of the engine to help keep the center of mass of the crankshaft right in the center of the engine. That allows for better rotation. We actually messed with that when we were in Kerbal. Remember when we made helicopters? We had to make sure the shaft assembly was balanced. I had to put a counterweight on the bottom and a counterweight on the top, or a counterweight on the bottom to counter the rotors on the helos that we made. Remember? I don't know if some of you guys were here for that. I made a helicopter in Kerbal, and we had to make a rotating assembly for it from scratch because there's no rotating parts in Kerbal in stock. So that's what the harmonic balancer does. The harmonic balancer also connects the belts to the accessories. We have multiple fan belts here. It's not like just one fan belt like it is in my summer car. That engine only has an alternator and a water pump. This thing has two because we have our alternator over here, which generates power for the battery. We have our water pump, which is right here. It's attached to the fan pulley, and the fan would be attached on these 4 bolts right here. And we also have power steering pump. This allows the steering to be hydraulically assisted. Now, I have a rack and pinion steering that came with the Crown Vic, and I'll talk about that later, probably in another stream. But the crankshaft behind the water pump, in this little kind of gap right here, I don't know how well you guys can see it. There's the timing cover, which is where the camshaft is. Camshaft is connected on a timing chain, which the timing cover actually covers. Allow myself to introduce myself. So, what we're talking about is the method of actuation. So, when you have a roller cam, the camshaft in here has a bunch of lobes on it, and the lobes push valves open and close. They're the cam is attached directly to a lifter, and the lifter pushes a push rod that comes up here through the head, and the push rod comes out the top of the head right here on the valve cover. And then there's a roller rocker in here, just a rocker. I mean, roller rockers are different. There's a rocker right here that it's just hinged in the center, and it does this. It rocks back and forth, okay, like that. The push rod, the cam lobe hits the lifter, that hits the push rod, that pushes the roller arms down like this, and that actually causes the valves, which are inside of the heads, the air fuel mixture into the combustion chambers, which are down in the block where the head connects to the block. It allows them to open and close. The cam has a bunch of lobes on it, and it works all the different valves. This is 2 valves per cylinder, so there's 1 intake and 1 exhaust. This essentially is kind of like if you took the engine in my summer car and you just added 4 more pistons to it. But this engine is a little bit bigger. The pistons and the size of the size of the pistons in the car in my summer car are about, I don't know, that big maybe. These ones are about that big. They're a little bit bigger. I forget the bore and stroke from this off the top of my head. I'd have to go and look it up. It's a Windsor motor though. It's 4.99 liters displacement, 5.0 motor. It's from a 79 F100. But what we're talking about, going back to the lifters and the cam, if you have a roller cam, the lifter has a little wheel on the end of it. So when the camshaft goes to hit when the lobe on the camshaft hits the thing, there's a wheel on the end of the lifter that actually rolls around the cam lobe. Those are, you'll get better performance essentially with those, because if you have like a solid lifter roller cam, the actuation will be more precise. But if your actuation is more precise, that's going to put more wear on the engine. So I wouldn't recommend putting like a roller cam in something that you're going to drive around on the street. I mean, that's just from my knowledge. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody that's done it, but you're going to have more power. But if you stretch more power out of your engine, the components are going to wear quicker. This thing has a hydraulic flat tappet cam, which means there's just the lifter is essentially like a little piston that compresses just a tiny bit when the camshaft actually hits it. It compresses just a little bit when the cam lobe hits it, and it pushes the push rod. The hydraulic flat tappet cam is much better for the street, but it makes no power. It puts less wear on your engine components, but you get longevity out of it. You don't necessarily get performance. I mean, the engine, you got to remember, when it comes down to it, the internal combustion engine is still a bunch of metal scraping against metal. It's just lubricated by oil. That's why you got to change the oil on your engine. So you get wear over time. The metal will eventually grind out and wear out components inside of the engine, which is why engines need to be rebuilt. But we're talking about, with the cam, with different types of cams, different types of duration, different types of lift on the cam, which means with a cam there's lift, duration, and then there's lobe separation. The lift is how much the distance between the center. If you're looking at a cam from the front, the distance between the center line of the cam and the top of the lobe. It's usually measured in a degree number at 50 thousandths of an inch. And then the duration is the shape of the lobe, similar to like eccentricity is the shape of an orbit. If it's less of an egg shape, less of a pointy egg shape, the valves are going to stay open for longer, and more fuel is going to get in to the combustion chamber and make the engine go faster. Solid lifters will, you get better actuation, and the roller lifters you get better actuation because they're solid. It's a direct connection. Instead of think about it like if we had a landing leg pushing something open and closed in Kerbal, because we make mechanical stuff in Kerbal all the time. If you had a landing leg that's going to extend, it's going to compress, and then it's going to push. That's how a hydraulic lifter kind of works. A solid lifter would be like if I used an I-beam to push something back and forth. But once again, you get more wear on the components if you use a solid lifter, but you get more horsepowers. Horsepowers are good. We like horsepowers. But the last thing is the lobe separation angle on the cams. So if the lobe separation angle, so there's the intake one and there's the exhaust lobe for each cylinder. If the separation angle, if they're further apart from each other like this, the time for combustion is the time that both of the valves are closed and the combustion occurs is longer. You'd only get that each statistic like orbits in KSP, it really depends on what you're trying to do. Um, obviously, a cam with more duration will be better if you're trying to make power, because that means the valves stay open for longer. But then again, you've got to worry about other things. You got to worry about timing and a bunch of other things with that. I mean, a lot of people don't understand that if people just want to modify the engine. They want to bolt on components and make stuff go faster. That's all fine and dandy, but if you don't understand that bolting, say, an intake manifold on there with stock exhaust manifolds, you're not going to gain much horsepower, because this motor is designed to breathe. You basically opened up one way, but you didn't open up another. You opened up the intakes, but you didn't open up the exhaust. So the exhaust is still a bottleneck, just kind of like a bottleneck would be on a computer. You know, a graphics card is my bottleneck, so I can't play this game, or my RAM is my bottleneck. It's the same type of thing with an engine. You can't just bolt components on and kind of, yep, the box said 10 horsepower, the box said 10 horsepower, the box said 10 horsepower. It's not really how it works. I mean, it would help, but even with most modern engines, you have to tune to account for more air, because the computer is controlling the airflow, not you. With this one, it's more of a mechanical thing, but I digress. So, I mean, in summation, this is the engine that's going in the car for now. $20,000 invested. Yeah, a word on fuel economy, I guess, non-existent. 8 miles to the gallon, maybe on a good day. Yeah, not a fuel efficient vehicle. I'll tell you that. Look at your links. What's up, Friday? Yeah, now we're talking, man. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, yes, yes. Fox body. And dude, is that a Thunderbird? Dude. Is that a Thunderbird Turbo Coupe? Is that a Thunderbird Turbo Coupe? Is it a Turbo Coupe? Dude, that Fox body's mint. Well, they're both Fox bodies, but that's another story. Dude, is that a Thunderbird Turbo Coupe in your link? I like that car a lot. I like both of those cars. Fords, man. Ford! Good stuff, dude. Good stuff. It's a 91 Mark 7. Oh, that's right. That was you, dude. I remember now. You told me about this before, right? Dude, mint. That's mint. I see your problem. The distributor is on the front. Hills. Get out of here. Get out of here. Doesn't matter. The distributor placement means nothing unless you're trying to start some brand loyalty stuff here. I'll be honest with you, dude. I like Fords. I like Dodges. I'll work on anything badly. I work on everything badly. Let me put it that way. All right. I roadkill things. Don't get me wrong. You know. Hey, whatever. It is what it is, right? Well, isn't the intended engine for this truck a lot smaller than a 5.0? It came from the factory with a 4.8 Y block. There's a viewer in chat, the prof, if he's around. I don't think he's here. But then again, I haven't been keeping up with chat too well. If prof is here, he knows more about Y blocks than I do. I don't care about Y blocks. The Windsor motors. That motor that you see on the screen over there, that's a better engine. Yeah, the Windsor engine is a great engine. This is an awesome engine. Awesome engine, bro. These things, they made these things from, what was it, 61 until, heck, Ford Explorers in the 2000s had Windsor blocks on them. They had different parts on them, but the bottom end of the engine was essentially the same, which is gnarly, dude. That's a long time for an engine to be produced. That's over 30. Is that 30 years? That's crazy. They made these things. They put these things in everything, man. Trucks, Mustangs, you know, old American boats. They put them in Lincolns. They put them in everything. It's slowly, the Windsor slowly got phased out by the modular engine, which is what Ford uses now. The modular is overhead cam design instead of a push rod. That's what my Mustang has in it. The one that's outside under a car cover covered in snow. All right, anyway, let's get back to what we were doing. We got to put this last bolt in here. Hello, welcome. Here in my garage, just working on this truck here. It's fun to work on here on the Twitch stream. I have 47 pickup trucks in my pickup truck account. What's up? How you doing? What's up? What's up? What's up? All right. Move this here like this so you guys can see what the heck's going on. Maybe we should go down with it a little bit. All right, so you see how there's a gap right there? Right here? I gotta put this in there to make that gap go away. So I gotta get under this thing. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah. So what's the game plan? Ritual, I'm doing a mock-up on the front end, the front clip. I'm reassembling it just to check for clearances around the suspension and engine clearance down the road without mocking up the engine. You have snow? Where are you based? Wheelies, I'm in Boston right now. There's not much. It's mostly melted, to be honest with you. It's dark out. You can't see the cars out there, but it should you know, there. I mean, let me take a look. Hold on. I'll be right back. Oh, nice. There's no snow on them. Fantastic. It was actually above freezing here today, so all the snow melted. Cars are uncovered. Sweet. Or at least they're under their car covers, but hey, whatever. All right, let's get this bolt in place, shall we? Get my wrenches out. I honestly just have everything on the ground right here. My bad. It's open space. I can use it. So I'm going to get on the opposite side over here. Ow. That's a floor jack. Ow. And we're going to bolt this panel in right here. See that? Let's get her done. I don't have a lot of room in this garage, and hopefully maybe down the road we can get a bigger one, but you work with what you got, I guess. So I'm doing the same thing. Ah, satana. I dropped the wrench. Oh, satana oxen. Oh, satana perkele. Okay. Oh, satana. You melon farmer. This needs to go up and in here. Like that. I need it. Oh, that's good. Oh, satana. Oh, satana. Come on, you melon farmer. Let's go. Oh, satana oxen. Perkele vittu. Sorry if you can't see much. My bad. Far side of the garage. I apologize beforehand. Drop the bolt. Drop the bolt like an idiot. I'm alright, I swear. The box said 10 horsepower. Drop the bolt again. I can't fit over here. This is not good. I can't fit. I'm too big. Any small people around that want to come help? Come to Boston. My number is 555 Saturn on Percole. Oh, Satana. Dude, I don't think this bolt is long enough. Oh gosh, alright, this is not working. I don't have any room over here. I can't fit. I can't get it at the right angle. We might have to hold off on this one until I move the truck or take a tire off or something. I can't really get at it. Not good. I couldn't get down there. There's a tire right there, and I don't have any room to lean up against. That sucked. I scraped up my arm. That wasn't cool. Okay, that sucked. I can't really get at it because that bolt is right here, and I don't really have, the wall is like right here, and I don't have enough room. I'll have to move the truck. We'll jack up the truck and we'll move it this way a little bit. But we'll do that later. Let's get the quarter panel mocked up. Yeah? Let's do it. Okay. No, that's not a good shot. There we go. This will work. All right. Excuse me. So, oh, I see people talking. I see people talking about it. That thing, you're wondering what that is? That's a torque converter. The torque converter is on an automatic transmission. That's called a fluid coupling. Basically what it is, if you see there's a center axle shaft to that thing, what that thing does is you can see the four spots. You can see the four spots where it mounts to the bolt, right? Where it mounts to the flywheel on the engine. And then when the engine runs, it spins this thing. In the center, attached to the transmission, there's an impeller. It's like a fan that's inside of there, right? And basically, the housing and the impeller move independently of each other, kind of like this. They move, the housing is just on the outside. The impeller is inside. And the torque converter is actually filled, it's filled with fluid, hence fluid coupling. I know, butt cam, I get it. So, what happens is when this thing turns at a certain speed, it starts sloshing the fluid around the impeller. And when it does, the impeller will start spinning with the wheel because of the liquid, because of the oil that's sloshing around inside of it. And basically, when your engine gets up to a certain amount of revs, it'll start spinning that and turn the impeller and turn the transmission in the drive line. That's why in an automatic transmission, when you shift into drive, you go forward because it's turning the fluid coupling. It's turning it all the time. It's just how the transmission connects. Fluid couplings and torque converters are what is in pretty much every automatic transmission nowadays. Maybe except for like CVTs and flappy paddle and stuff like that. CVT is like a belt-driven transmission. It's junk. Junk. Not Nick, I'm using the mic on the camera. Using the microphone on the camera, dude. It's not the best. My bad. The fluid that's inside of a fluid coupling is it's kind of oil, but it's not. It's a special type of viscosity that's designed for the impeller. Fluid couplings are actually really interesting. They're really cool. It's one of those things that's just generally overlooked. It's like one of those things you'd never know. Like, well, think about it. I mean, how's the transmission going to shift automatically? Unless you have a way to actuate a clutch automatically without a clutch pedal on an older car like this, it doesn't make sense. So they came up with the idea of using a fluid coupling. Fluid couplings have been around since the 30s. Chevy and Ford invented them a long time ago. They were a luxury item for the longest time. They made cars in manual because it was cheaper to make them in manual, and frankly, it still is. The problem is automatic transmissions have become the norm, and now with newer cars, unless it's like a muscle car or something, you rarely see manuals. Back in the day, every car was manual. You were somebody if you had an automatic transmission. That's like 50, 60 years ago, though. You did get to see a turbo coupe today? Dude, that's awesome. Would people here consider electronic cars automatic transmission or not? The Tesla, if you're talking about like Tesla, there's no transmission. It's a motor that's connected directly to a differential. It's a transverse engine, so the motor, if the two wheels are like this, the motor's sideways, and it's connected. It's kind of a transaxle, but it's not. It's connected via a transverse piece to the wheels out like that. On other Teslas, it's on the front and back wheels, So there's no transmission. With an electric engine, with an electric motor, you don't need a transmission. You could put a transmission on it if you wanted to make the electric motor work a little bit more efficiently and not drain the batteries as much, but with an instant power band that an electric motor gives, the only power loss you're getting is going through the diff. And if you make a sturdy diff, you don't need a transmission. Like electric motors can go faster by adding more batteries to them. Remember when you're playing with Legos back in the day, you had more batteries, the motor spins faster? Same deal. It's not an automatic transmission, it's not a manual transmission, it's nothing. There is no transmission. It's what's called direct drive. What's your plan, PJ? I'm kind of giving an introduction. Nice. This is the first time I've worked on the truck on stream. I've done automotive streams in the past where I work on my other car, which is a Dodge Coronet, and a 69 Dodge Coronet 500 sedan. That's a cool car. It's outside. I'm doing mock-ups today. I'm putting the front clip back together just so I can mock around the new suspension that I put on this thing. I'll give you guys a quick background and everything. This truck, I bought it in 2009, took it apart in 2012, didn't have time to work on it because the stream got big, playing Kerbal and what we do almost every other night. So it kind of fell to the wayside. It's been sitting here in pieces for 4 years, almost 5 years now. So we're going to get back into it, and I'm on stream. It's kind of come full circle. The stream is what made me stop working on it because the stream got big, and when the stream gets big, you don't not stream, you stream more, right? So we've come full circle to now working on it on the stream. We're going to put it all back together. I did the Crown Vic swap already. I have to finish up fabricating some stuff. Well, I have to get a welder in here to help me with the fabrication, but right now what I'm doing is, because there's new suspension in this thing, I'm mocking up the quarter panels to check for clearances and everything and make sure everything fits. You know what I mean? Just doing mock-ups right now.